over now.
Yes. Yes, we can see your screen now.
Okay, so well, welcome to this afternoon session. Okay, so we just came out from a session where we talk about the customers. Okay, and how we should satisfy our customers. And you all agree with me that one way in which we can satisfy our customers is actually providing the right value to them. Okay, and actually stressing the customers less. Okay, if you can reduce the stress on customers, on your clients, I mean, you provide value with few clicks. That will really, be something of joy to them. Okay, so today we'll be talking about a very interesting skill, right? Something that we should all know, we should be able to do flawlessly, easily, okay, stress-free as business analysts and project managers. On this call, this session will be dragging our project managers, and I'm going to be throwing stones. Please don't throw the stones back, okay? Um, let's just learn from it. Okay, so we're talking about a very interesting skill, which is the documenting and modeling requirements. Documenting and modeling requirements. Over the past couple of years, I've had experiences. Possibly you've also, seen, or possibly you've had similar experiences where, management will provide huge funds for projects. Developers to jump on the project, start coding and all that. But at the end of the day, when the user starts using the project, the solution, it becomes buggy, or it's not, giving them the very easy way to complete a particular task. All right, and then everybody now have to go back to the drawing board and start adjusting and all that. Okay, that's not a very good approach. That's not a very good approach. I've seen similar scenarios in the past. In the past, I've also seen a bank making use of about 3 processes for ordinary only leave application. Okay, I want to apply for leave, and then I have to do this, I have to do that one, and manually I have to scan and upload, I have to upload it here, I have to send the mail, I have to do all manner of things from 3 different locations for leave application. I mean, if
So,
you have that kind of
excuse me,
chaotic,
Mr. Akun.
yes, please.
Is your slide moving? I can still see business
Oh, no,
analysis.
no. Yes, yes, yes. My slide will move. It will
Okay.
move.
I just
Yes.
wanted to confirm that. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Adi. Okay, so if you have such a chaotic environment for leave application, what about when customers complain? When customers send in their complaints by the support channels, how do you manage that? Okay, if ordinary leave application is this chaotic, let's take for example, okay, payment of salaries and allowances. Okay, so how will you manage that if I myself as an employee can't just easily, apply for leave without stress within the organization? So we're talking about modeling, documenting and modeling requirements, right? It's very important that we document and model requirements before we start building. This way, it puts everybody on the same page. It brings all the stakeholders to the same page, to one single page, to one point of understanding. Okay. You see, technology should be an enabler, not a barrier. So if we are making use of technology, but bringing technology to provide a particular solution, which it should actually be an enabler. It should be very efficient and effective at the end of the day. Not something that will start dragging the business back, not something that the business start going back, spending more time fixing, correcting. Okay, so we need to get this done once and get it right. Project managers should be business analysts. Okay, project managers should be business analysts. I've seen project managers who are just interested in Gantt charts and timeline. Okay, all they want is, when are you doing this? When will you deliver it? When are we testing? Okay, the project manager is not informed. The project manager doesn't know what it takes to provide that. You ask project managers different between varchar and int, and they're like, they are lost. Okay, so don't just be a project manager, be a business analyst. Okay, so it will make this process very easy, streamlined, and everybody will be on the same page. So documenting and modeling requirements is very important. Very important. This way, it will ensure that we don't fall short of the initiative. Okay, we'll make sure that the initiative does not fall short of what it should achieve. So let's move further. Okay. This class introduces some of the most commonly used techniques for documenting and modeling requirements. These techniques are used to record, analyze, and specify requirements during solution development. They are extremely useful to clarify understanding and, if cross-checked, to ensure completeness of the analysis. Right here, we're talking about recording. Okay, so the goal of documentation and modeling is to remove ambiguity. Okay, we want a single, a single shared source of truth. If the project manager is saying something, as a developer, I should understand exactly what the project manager is saying. Okay, as a business analyst, the stakeholders, the top management, everybody should be on the same page. And we're also further on, we're going to look at how we can communicate with different stakeholders, okay, with regards to either a project or a particular solution that we're trying to give out to the public or to our customers. Recording. Right here, these are techniques used to record. Okay, recording is the point where we capture what the stakeholder needs accurately, where we capture everybody's concerns accurately. So we capture, we record, and then we analyze this requirement. We analyze everything that we've recorded, okay, under documentation and modeling. We capture, we record, and then we analyze everything. Okay, so we need to, this is where we start bringing up user stories. Okay, this is where we start bringing up user stories. And when we talk about specifying, it's when we create specific record that the development and the testing teams will use in completing that very project or feature. Okay, so that's where we are with recording, analyzing, and specifying requirements. A single shared source of truth. Okay, so that's the goal. Let's say, for example, okay, this scenario where we want our customers to see their past orders, for example. We want customers to see their past orders. It's just there. Okay. Without recording this, the developer might just start building something like, okay, let me just build something that the customers can log in. And just see their past orders. But that's just not what we want. Okay. Aside from seeing their past orders, the customers will also want to see, their past orders as list. Probably they want to see it probably with a link to place another order. Okay. On that past orders, they want to see probably a link that will take them to tracking where they can track that order if it has been fulfilled or not. Okay. To know the value, the flow till when it gets delivered to the customer. Okay. So we just don't want something that yes, from the stakeholder, we are saying that we want something for customers to see their past orders. But when we start coding, when we expand this very simple statement, there are various steps that will come up, various categories, different things that we need to do that we need to put in place for the customers with regards to past orders. Okay, so let's move further. The purpose of documenting requirements. Documenting requirements ensures that all stakeholders have a clear and shared understanding. All stakeholders have a clear and shared understanding. Let's take, for example, an online booking system for a clinic. An online booking system for a clinic. Yes, we want this booking system for the clinic, but there are different parts, different stakeholders that we need to consider. Number one, the patient. Okay, something easy for the patient to, use, confirm, book an appointment with the doctor, confirm with an email that has been booked. The doctors should be able to, see all the appointments booked at different times of the day. The doctor should be able to apply for leave, go on holidays, okay, and make sure that holidays are not affected. They are not in the booking dates and time. The receptionist should be able to see the whole schedule from, what's coming from the customers, from the patients, and the ones the doctors have, have responded to. Okay, So there must be shared understanding, clear and shared understanding. Everybody must be on the same page. Okay, that's one of the purpose of documenting requirements. The next one is traceability. Requirements are traceable throughout the project life cycle. 6 months down the line, I mean, someone might just come up and like, why do we have this here? Okay, why are we adding a feature? Okay, I mean, traceability. It should be traceable. Oh, this was part of the original plan, but being implemented then because of probably some other challenges that came up. Okay, so traceability. Everything should be traceable, and then it puts developers and testers on the same page to know what to build or validate. Let's say, for example, you want a phone number field, and yeah, I want a phone number field, but then you didn't specify that the phone number field must be, only numbers. Okay, and then we have virtual there, characters, and right there, if not properly sanitized, can cause a whole lot of security problems. Okay, for the product or that very part of the solution. So that's these are actually the purpose of documenting requirements. We want to put everybody on the same page. Okay. Let's say, for example, if a business wants an online booking system, the requirements users should be able to book appointments online must be written clearly to avoid confusion. It must be written clearly, documented clearly to avoid confusion. At some point, okay, you notice, well, I've noticed documentation. Even with documentation, right? I've seen programmers, developers interpret documents differently. Okay, we're going to see examples and what we can do to ensure we are still on the same page with the documentation, and that's the modeling, right? We document and then we model. Models are just diagrams, description that describe the flow of different events. We'll get there. But then we need to, the purpose of documenting requirements is to ensure everybody have clear and shared understanding, all the stakeholders involved. The requirements are traceable, okay? And then developers and testers know exactly what to build and what they are building. Okay, so types of requirements. We have business requirements, which is the high-level goals, online booking system, just high level. Okay, increase customer satisfaction, high level. Okay, let's say, for example, increase patient booking by 20%. Okay, that is the why of the project. Business requirements, that is the why of the project. That's a high level requirements, the why of the project. Okay, we're talking about this is the big picture, what we see from the high level before we start breaking down everything into tasks and functional requirements. Okay, the next one is next type of requirements is a stakeholder requirements, the needs of specific stakeholders or specific groups, right? Call center staff need faster lookup of clients' records, for example. Okay, in the online clinic booking system, I mean, we have different stakeholders, right? There's patient, there's a receptionist, we have the doctors. Okay, these three for a start. Okay, so we are bridging the gap. We are trying to bridge the gap between the high level, business goal. Okay, we are breaking down the parts into putting it into different groups, those that will be concerned majorly. Okay, and then the third one is the function requirement. That's solution requirement. Solution requirement is further broken down into functional and non-functional requirements. For example, let's say functional requirement, what the system should do. That's a functional requirement. Some years back, well, when I was actively, building websites for businesses, one of the things the customers will come up with is, I want a website that can take 10,000 users at the same time. I just nod my head. Okay, what else? I want a website that will be online 247. Okay, what else? I want a website that is beautiful. Okay, what else? But then they're not addressing the core functional, parts of the website. Okay, you want a website that is beautiful, that can accept 20,000 users at a time. That is, I mean, come on, that's mobile friendly. Okay, but what will the website do? What are you using the website for? What are the functional requirements? And that's why they're like, okay, I want customers to be able to log in. Have that covered. Tell me what you want, what value you're giving out to the customer. Okay, that's when the real talk starts. But when it comes to non-functional requirement, that's like server space, I want server space of 10 gigabytes. Like, come on, what do you need this for? But that's what the customer wants. Okay. But then these are solution specific requirements. We have the functional requirements and the non-functional requirements. When you meet people who are just starting up their business, they know what they're trying to offer out to the public. They don't know how to put it out there in a form of solution, okay, that the public can actually interact with. They don't know how to integrate technology into their business. Okay, so it's now left for you to put this parts together and advise the customer, advise the stakeholder, advise the person, the business. Okay, so let's proceed. Please, if you have any questions, we can drop questions in the chat box. I'll take a look at it as we move forward. Okay, so let's move forward to characteristics of good requirements. What are the characteristics? Yes, please.
I feel like to me you are very audible, but some people in the chat message that your volume is a little bit low, or you can proceed because you're very audible to me.
Low volume. Okay. Wow. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So let's talk about characteristics of good requirements. Okay. Characteristics of a good requirement. It is clear and unambiguous. Okay. Everyone reading it should have the same understanding. Everybody reading that requirement should have the same understanding. Okay. The system should be user-friendly. What does user-friendly means? Okay, user-friendly is too ambiguous. User-friendly can also mean mobile responsive. Okay, but then when you say things like the system shall allow a new user to book an appointment with 3 clicks, that's a good one. That's a good requirement. Okay, that's a good requirement. But telling me the interface or the solution must be user-friendly. Hello, that doesn't really carry weight, doesn't make sense. Okay, when I tell the next developer that the platform should be user-friendly, that person start playing too many tapes in his head. Okay, what should I do? What should I take out from it? Okay, and as business analysts, we're trying to make this work fast and easy for every part for the stakeholders. Complete and consistent. Okay. One of the good characteristics of a good requirement is complete and consistent. It should not have missing parts or missing information. It should not have information that contradicts each other. Okay. It should not have information that contradicts each other. For example, okay, let's say in some parts of the solution, we have data that is stored for like 5 years, and in other parts we have data that is stored for 3 years. For example, right? So that's not good enough. Okay, if we want to keep data stored for 5 years, it should be there. It should be consistent across board. We keep data for 5 years. There should be a business justification for why we keep data for up to 5 years. Okay, so this is not something that we should do things that are consistent, right? Sometimes back I had this development engagement. I wasn't part of the core development team, but just there as a project manager and business analyst. And one of the things we did earlier on was to define how we name files, folders, classes, variables, name it, functions. Like we defined how we should name all these things before we even start the project. Okay, all these were defined in detail. Okay, so I mean, it's good to have something that is complete, something that is consistent across board. If you go to the website, you find the same pattern there. If you go to the mobile application, you find the same pattern there. Okay, the Figma guy is using the same pattern. So it's good for the requirement to be complete and consistent. The next one is testable and traceability. Testable and traceability. You should be able to test it and confirm. You should be able to prove that it is complete. Okay, you should be able to prove that yes, this requirement has been met. That's something that we must ensure. Okay, let's say an example is okay. This talking about testable and traceability, right? Let's say okay, you see users, businesses will be like, we want a system to handle many users at a time. Many users at a time, that's not enough. Okay, many users at a time, no. But when you say you want users, you want a system that can handle 110,000 concurrent users, I mean, and the performance will not go below 4 seconds. That's something. Okay. You want something that's a solution that can handle 10,000 users at the same time, and the performance response time will not go below 4 seconds. Good. That's something that is testable. We can test that. As a matter of fact, there's something called stress testing. Right. When you finish building, we now stress test it and put pressure on that solution, see how it responds to it, to such stress. Okay. Before we will take it online, before we go live, this is on development server. Okay, so example is the report must include the total monthly sales. It's clear, but the report must be fast. It's vague. Okay, so when you say report must be fast, come on, that's not good enough. But when you say the report must include total monthly sales, yes, everybody is on the same, have the same understanding. And to generate that report, we should have total monthly sales from that report. But I mean, some reports can come in maybe after 30 minutes. You click generate and keeps running background activities. Okay, you can now do other things to optimize that very process. But talking about characteristics of good requirements, it must be clear and unambiguous. It must be complete.
Hello, can anyone hear me? I think his network just went out.
Yes, my network timed out.
All right.
Apologies for that. Please let me share my screen again. Can we see my screen, please? Are we together? Can we see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. Techniques for documenting
Yeah,
requirements.
documentary requirements. Yes, please. Okay, so techniques for documentary requirements. These are tools, okay, we use in documenting requirements. One of such is user stories. User stories. For every solution, earlier on, we talked about customer satisfaction. Okay, customer satisfaction. One thing that businesses should put, when it comes to customer satisfaction is, feedback. Okay, a way to contact or send complaints to the business. Okay, if your customers cannot send complaints to the business, you most likely not know the best way to serve them. You won't know their pain point at the time of using your solution. Okay, but then that's a user. The user stories. User wants to send complaint. What do you want from them? Probably their name, their email address, phone number, the complaint, and you want them to be able to attach a particular solution. That's a user story from the complaint, customer side. Okay. From the clinic appointment booking solution we talked about earlier. Let's say user stories. You want to get the complete user stories from the doctors, from the patient, right? And from the nurses, from the receptionist. Okay. So user stories, as a user, I want a particular goal so that to give me a certain value, benefits, something that will benefit me. So addressing the pain points of that very user. Okay, so we can make use of user stories to do this. Okay, it's a very popular agile technique. Okay, The next one is use case description. Use case description kind of describes the interaction between a user and a system. Use case describes the interaction between the user and the system. It's usually more detailed, right? It's usually more detailed. Let's say still on the booking appointments, right? You want to consider every step of the booking appointment, such as logging in, selecting a doctor, selecting a date, from the calendar drop down, picking a time, confirming by emails and receiving confirmation to your email. Okay, so these are more detailed steps that the users will follow for a particular benefit. Okay, a particular goal, a particular value. Requirements catalog, a list of all the requirements with IDs. As a matter of fact, I think I have something here. Let me drag it to the second screen. A list of requirements with IDs, right? Let me drag this here. So this is a kind of requirement catalog. So requirement catalog is a master spreadsheet of database of all requirements. Okay, all requirements plus serial number, the status, ID, and the priority. Okay, I will prioritize it. Okay, so this is a sample, requirement catalog. Okay, students can view a detailed transcript showing results for each semester, grade point, calculated CGPA, and a clear list of any outstanding carryover courses. This is high, okay, and this is serial number ST06. Okay, so this is sample requirement catalog. All right, so let me take this out. The next one is process models such as flowcharts, diagrams, showing steps in business process. Okay, this is where the other parts modeling comes into play. Okay, modeling, the other part of the class, this where it comes into play, where we use flowcharts, diagrams. There's so many tools, even using ordinary PowerPoint, you can draw these flowcharts and diagrams. But we're going to learn further that there's a standard. Okay, there's a standard for creating these models, but we'll look at that much later as we proceed. Process models comes in more like a picture. Okay, many of us will agree with me that we want to communicate with top management, with those orga at the top. I mean, you don't bring up so many texts for them. You bring out something, picture, okay, charts, something interesting, okay, something they can just look at a glance, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, they get the big picture, okay, of where the business is going to and what's where the challenge within the system, within the company. Okay, so such stakeholders, you don't want to communicate with them with so many words, many texts. You want to use pictures. So process models are a good way to also describe how different parts of the system connect or speak to each other. Okay, we're going to see types as we proceed. Probably I think that is in the next slide. Okay. So these process models, like charts, they show how, the steps. Okay, they show the steps within the business process and how other parts interact with each other. Requirements modeling. Requirements modeling. Now we are on modeling. Okay. So let's talk about data models. Let's talk about data models. So I'll be going up and down, going back and forth across 4 slides to explain and show us samples, right? Modeling, for short, is about creating visual representation of the requirements. Visual representation of the requirements. Okay, so we've documented the requirements, but we want something visual that will hit the stakeholders, that will hit different parts involved into bringing everybody into one understanding of what is needed. The first one is data models. Data models are entity relationship diagrams. For those of us that are data analysts, developers, backend engineers, database managers, you must have seen, this kind of data models, relationship like this, something like this. Like, you must have seen things like this, times without numbers. Okay, this data model is simply describing, what piece of information relates with the next piece of information. Okay, how one piece of information relates to the next. Okay, for products will definitely have primary key. Okay, to identify each product. The customers will have their primary key to identify the customer. Most companies make use of a unique ID that is automatically generated for the customer, but then there's a primary key. Okay, and we're talking about dates. This is the dates. For example, when you're talking about dates, you want something to show the dates, the full dates, month description, and all that. Okay, so this is a data model. This is sample data model. So looking at the patient booking solution that we had earlier, the data model will most likely show things like, patients can have many appointments. Yeah, a patient can have many appointments with the doctor. Okay, and then the appointment will definitely be with one doctor. So these data models will show this relationship. Okay, how the patient's table will, link with the doctor's appointment table and all that. Okay, so it's a visual representation of how the data is structured and stored and assessed within the system. Okay, these data models it describes how the data is stored, how it is structured, and how it is assessed, okay, within the system. So the next one we'll talk about is process models, right? Process models shows the flow. Process models show the flow, show tasks and flows, such as business process modeling notation, that's BPMN. It is the standard for business process modeling. One solution that that mastered over the years is Bizagi. Bizagi is a very nice tool and it's open source too. They can use to draw out the process model and bring everybody into one understanding. Okay, so let's take a look at process models. Still under the process models, there are different models that we can make use of. Okay, still under business process modeling tools, there's a cycle diagram, which helps stakeholders to identify the key elements of a business at the outset. There's UML diagram, which analyzes, designs, and implements software programs. That's the unified modeling language structure. Okay, and then there's the BPMN process maps, which provides a standardized system. Okay, so this BPMN provides a standardized system. The system has been standardized, right? There are also tools. There's a Microsoft tool that can be used for this. Name just escaped my mind. But then there's a Microsoft tool. Once you have the subscription, you can use to create this process model. And then there's a value stream mapping, mostly flowcharts. Okay, it illustrates, analyzes, and improves the steps required to deliver a product or a service. That's what we use the value stream mapping for. And then the Gantt chart. Project managers, they love Gantt charts. They love Gantt charts. They just want to know when the project will end. Okay, when it's starting and when it's ending. Please, let's adjust ourselves. Let's not just be project managers. Let's also be involved in the project itself. Okay, let's understand what the business is doing. Let's understand what the project is doing. Okay, if left to me, all departments in every organization should have a business analyst, not even a project manager, a business analyst. Okay, so project managers, I don't really fancy them that much, but then let's have business analysts. Gantt charts, ideal for time-sensitive project processes. Okay, to know when a particular task should start and when it should end. The next one is the states models, state modeling. This talking about the states of a particular process. For example, once you open a task, right? Once you open a request, let's say support request, if you send in support request, for some of us, you notice that you send support requests to some companies, you see it as opened. Okay, when their representative attends to that request, you see it as in progress. Okay, and then when you send replies until when it's closed, you see that request as closed. So state models describes the various states, okay, of a particular process. And then the last one is the use case diagram. the use case diagram. Okay. An effective use case diagram can help the team, represent scenarios in which the system or application interacts with people, organizations, external, internal stakeholders. Okay. The use case diagram will help, describe how the system interacts with all the stakeholders. Okay. The use case diagram will also help represent, the goals that must be achieved by that very solution or that very process. Okay, so use case diagram will help us, describe the goals that must be achieved, and then it helps us to scope the system. Okay, right here, the customers can, log in, complete checkout, make purchase, view items. Okay, and other parts that is, connected to the customer. Okay, so that's about the requirement modeling. Okay, use case diagram displays actors and their interaction with the system. Actors and their interaction with the system. A use case diagram for our clinic or hospital appointment booking solution will most likely show a patient's actor that is connected to, to book an appointment. Yes, view history, cancel appointments, change appointment dates. Okay, if it has not been confirmed by the doctor or by the receptionist. Okay, so these are this about the use case diagram, requirement modeling. Do you have any question at this point, please? Okay. Okay. Let's talk about benefits of modeling. Benefits of modeling. Clarifies requirements visually. Yes. We want an appointment booking solution. So many things start playing in my head. So many things will play in the hand of the backend developer. So many things will play in the head of the Figma, designer. So many things will play in the head of the front-end engineer. Okay, but then when you bring it out there visually, represent everything visually, everybody will have that one understanding. Okay. For many developers, they don't like reading words that are not code related. Okay. A model makes it very easy to see connections and structures at a glance. At a glance, the model should show the connections and the structure of that very process or solution that's being built. Okay. The second benefit of modeling it reveals gaps or inconsistencies. Okay, it reveals gaps or inconsistencies. Yes, you can see it, you can write it down, but by the time you start drawing it out, and then you start seeing, for the customer to log in, they should first of all register. Okay, so registration will come first. Okay, for the customer to book an appointment, they need to do KYC validation. Oh, KYC, they need to drop their phone number, their name, they need to upload their last, past, if they have it. Okay, if they have it, they need to upload their past medical records, for example. Okay, so when you draw these things out, it reveals gaps and inconsistencies. Easier communication with stakeholders. Yes, it's easy to communicate with stakeholders when you have, diagrams. It's easier to communicate with our elderly stakeholders when you have diagrams. With our top management, with our guys at the top. Okay, give them images. They have other meetings to attend to. Class into graphs and charts on their faces. Let them see and interpret within 5-10 seconds. They have the big picture. They have the understanding of where the project is at a particular time. They know what the customer is facing. They'll have that understanding at a glance. Okay, it's easier when you model these things. And then it's visual, it's validation and verification. Okay. You can walk through a model with a stakeholder and ask, is this correct? Yeah, that's something that you should do. You walk through a model, like, okay, this should do this, should do this, should do the next one. Okay, is this what you want? Yes. Let's move to the next item. Okay, so it's a very powerful way to actually validate your understanding. Okay, it's a very powerful way to validate your understanding. It's a very powerful way to bring all the stakeholders on the same page. Okay, you want developers to understand what the client needs, what the customers, what the people needs, what the users needs. Okay, you hear from the users, what do you want? I want ABC. You put it together. Okay, and then you push it, make it beautiful, and present it. So different stakeholders prefers different formats. Okay, and in some instances, when you're working with other organizations on the similar project, I mean, you may decide to make use of a particular system format for communication and interaction. Okay, so that still falls back to the business analyst to recommend the best way to communicate and share ideas together. Choosing the right approach. The truth is, there's no best technique, but you should first of all understand the audience. There's no one size fits all technique. You should understand the audience. Different stakeholders prefer different formats. The way you communicate with technical developer is not the same way you communicate with the business manager. Okay, it's not the same way you communicate with the CEO of the company. Okay, so I mean, these are your users, right? These are the stakeholders. You should understand the best way to communicate this to them. Different stakeholders prefer different formats. Developers might want models. Yes, developers want models, something they can see. Okay, so they'll work with that pattern. They'll work with that description. When you draw out something using Figma, for example, I mean, there are parts that there are opportunities for you to add comments, to put description, detailed description on what it should do. Yes, they are seeing the model, they are seeing the diagram, but they are also seeing, the requirements, stated also. So they have all the information they need to meet that specific requirement. Okay, so a senior business manager might not have time. Yeah, they might not have time to be reading through 25, 10 pages documents. Okay, so this very document that I have here, we have it, we have the image, we have the models all drawn out. Okay, what I have here, I have the image all drawn out, the models all drawn out. Okay, so I mean, this is something that will help the senior managers to understand what you are building. Okay, to understand what you are building. Well, the key here is adaptability as a business analyst. Okay, so you should understand these techniques, be able to play around with these techniques. Okay, and know the best for the stakeholders. Okay, best practices. Regularly validate with stakeholders. Regularly validate with the stakeholders. Do not assume they understand you. Okay, do not assume you understand them 100%. Communicate with them. Always ask them questions. Let them confirm the details. When you put out a model out there, ask them to confirm. Is it what you described? Is it what you want? Yes. Okay. Okay. Keep it current. Documentation is useless if it is out of date. Keep documentation current and updated. Okay. Versioning is very important at this day. Versioning is very important. Keep documentation current and updated. Documentation is useless if it's not updated. Be consistent. Okay. Use consistent naming and numbering. Consistency is key. Okay, it's very important to be consistent. Okay, I've seen developers build something that's a bit different from what the analyst recommended, different from what the business manager wanted, different from what the Figma guy produced. Okay, and the developer was like, I mean, I'm done with it. I've built it. That's what is there. But when I went back to the Figma, come on, there are some images not there. There's some icons not there. Okay, so let's put those together. So be consistent. Ensure accessibility for all parties. Make sure that everybody who needs to see documentation can easily access the documents. Okay, make sure that everybody that needs to see documentation can easily access these documents. Okay, so this is best practice to all of us as business analysts. Let's try to, abide by this. There's no one shoe fits all. Okay, let's try to choose the best approach for every project. Okay, choose the best approach for every process. Okay, let's model, document requirements, and get the business running. Do you have any question at this point, please? Any question, anybody? You can type in the questions. You can unmute your mic. Can we hear me, please? Any questions? Are we together, please?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. I'm just waiting
All
for
right.
someone to send the question.
Okay.
Okay, with this absence, so you can proceed, or if you want to round up, since there's no question at the
Okay. So
moment.
all right. So at this point, I think I'm done with this session. And after any questions, so can call it a day. Mr. Diploma, over to you, please. Thank you. Thank you
All
very much
right,
for the opportunity.
thank you very much for that wonderful session. Kindly help me appreciate Mr. Adekunle Kunlade in the chat box. Mr. Henry, kindly appreciate Mr. Henry for us in the chat box. It was a very insightful session. I'm sure we all learned a bunch from that. And the next section of our